Wyverns and Weirdos Curse of Strahd is a horror-themed campaign, and as such contains dark themes, including descriptions of gore, violence, and other features intrinsic to the gothic horror genre. Hello, and welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos Does Curse of Strahd. I'm your Dungeon Master, Darby, and joining me as always are Zoe, playing Cevia, Emily, playing Beatrice, Laura, playing Conrade, Mitch, playing Designation 42, Exley, and Johanna, playing Fall. Let's jump into it. So, where we last left off, the party spent some time in the library. Cevia told some tales of her childhood and discovered the command word for the books, Exathanta. Conrade read further through Strahd's diary, discerning that it was a spell book as well, and deciphering one of the spells as Fireball before overhearing Cevia stating the command word and starting to go through books himself. Fall questioned Beatrice and Exley about parents, which Beatrice gave a really heartfelt answer to, and Exley was not given an opportunity to respond. Exley battered some books off the bookcase as a cat. Quickly, as we kind of wind through into long rest time, is there anything people want to do during, I guess, having dinner and getting ready for bed?
Beatrice is going to pick up one of the books that Exley has knocked off the shelf and walk back and sit back down in front of the staircase, and then sort of raise her voice across the room to Cevia. I am assuming, seeing as you are over there seeming quite excited, you've worked out how to read the...
Cevia, who has trapped Conrade in a conversation about books for however long he has been standing there against his will, just kind of looks over at Beatrice and is like, yes, there's a code word!
Yeah?
And she looks at Conrade all excited as well, and she's like, Exathanta!
Beatrice nods, looks at the book, and says, Exathanta.
Okay.
Or question, would she say it in Cevia's exact voice as a Kenku?
Say it again.
Exathanta?
Exathanta?
Alright. Yeah. And the pages appear towards you. This one seems to be more of a straight up spell book, but it is spells focused towards, quite fortunately, survival and exploration. There's not a great deal in here that you are finding easy to understand in a way that you can apply. There are a few little hints and tips, like more practical hints and tips, but for the most part there's maybe some spells in here that with enough practice you could maybe learn to do. But the way that you have access to your little bit of magic, it's bit tricky to kind of take this more academic, theoretical, mechanical approach to magic.
Beatrice just sort of makes little as she reads through the book.
Conrade, see, it works on all the books. Oh my goodness, it doesn't just work for us, it works for everyone. Oh my.
Yes, it is incredible. Actually, speaking of magic, Cevia.
Yes?
I would like your opinion on something.
Oh, okay, certainly.
And he's kind of like moves towards where he's kind of set up camp, and he picks up Strahd's diary. Like, I've been reading through his diary.
Oh, not a pleasant read, I'm assuming.
It is not, although it is not far from many leaders, or indeed many people of great circumstance. So I suppose he would have been most at home with my family. Anyway, the notes I've discovered a cipher, and this is what he takes out he picks up his diary, which is like a little black leather-bound one with a snake on it, and he opens up on the page where he's been making notes. He's like, "This is the ciphers for Fireball, yes?"
Yes, it's a spell book.
Yes, that was written in the code in his spell book. It must be his diary and his notes for magic. Yes.
Yes. Many wizards cast aside spell books when they've advanced beyond them. That's a very good find, Conrade.
Yes, I think I can translate most of it. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yes,
Good.
I thought you didn't have much experience with magic.
I don't, but I'm quite good at codes. And, well, sometimes it just felt right when I looked over them. So,
Yes.
Speaking of feeling, actually.
Yes.
And he reaches out to grab her by the wrist, kind of, and pulls her closer to, because he's kind of made his little nest in the corner there. He pulls her to step in next to him, quite close, next to the I've got
bookshelf.
The bookshelf. I've forgotten the words. The book repository thing. He pulls her in step with him quite closely. He's like, and then he looks at catches her gaze directly, and then looks down towards the center of the room with the staircase, and then looks back at her. You saw before what was down there, not the golem, the other things.
Oh.
That the other three talked to.
Yes. Yes, I did.
I saw your gaze linger. Back then.
Well,
were you not curious?
Incredibly. Quite curious.
Are you still?
I shouldn't be.
No, of course not. And yet?
And yet. I'm sure you can appreciate, Conrade, that there is a certain point where academic curiosity stops being academic and starts becoming selfish, in a way.
Selfish? What is the line for that?
My parents passed many years ago, Conrade. Quite sadly.
I see.
To bring them back would be to fulfill the dream of a 13-year-old child. It would make me potentially the happiest they've ever been, but I would be bringing them back to a child they don't know anymore.
Could you not become that child again if they were alive?
I'm not...
You speak quite positively of your family when you do.
Yes.
You care about them quite a bit.
Deeply.
And they cared about you?
From what I could tell, yes. I'm not sure they would want to come back.
Then that is the true question, because really, you can call it selfishness, but it's not just you in that equation, is it?
No.
It is your parents as well. They might want to be back to see their daughter, what their daughter has become. This is certainly the sort of magic that Strahd has entertained, clearly.
But would they want me to be someone who entertains the same magic as him for the same purposes?
It depends.
And Conrade, on a deeper level, if I may be candid with you, I could have prevented their deaths. I'm not sure they want to come back to me.
So you had a hand in it?
She looks down at the floor. Inadvertently. My father was fond of late-night training. I was a petulant child. I heard noises. I heard spells. I heard shouting. I thought it was one of his illusions. I did nothing, assumed I would get reprimanded in the morning. Instead, I found their corpses.
How old were you?
It was the night before my 13th birthday.
You have considerable power within you.
Yes.
Many have noticed this. And he glances over at the bookshelf where the cat is sitting. I have also noticed this. And that has afforded you many things. But you do not have finesse. And at 13, you would have had even less. You would have been dead as well. If you had gone out there.
Better dead than guilty.
I think being alive is the best thing of all. And guilt can fade in time. But as with down there, it looks back down towards like where the coffins are, being alive means that you're given more chances.
But if I'm alive, then my guilt is something, you are right, that I can forget. If I bring them back, from what I remember being told to me of what that sarcophagus said, bringing them back brings them back as they were when they were alive. I would be a 21-year-old, incredibly powerful wizard, bringing back her parents, who last remember her as a petulant, frightened 13-year-old, scared of her own power, who didn't help them. My selfishness wants to bring them back. But if they remain dead, I can pretend that they wouldn't be upset with me for what I did, and that they wouldn't be upset with me for what I have become in Barovia. I will not lie to you and say that I am not tempted by this, Conrade, but I have to make myself not be. And if I can bring them back, then how does that stop me from bringing back anyone else? It takes my essence, sure, certainly. But at a certain point, with enough of you gone, aren't you just killing someone else? For the sake of people you're bringing back for you.
Depends on how important the person is, or how useful. Goodness, you are also very principled. I suppose it must be good to have the confidence and capabilities to deny such a thing. Fine. Well, certainly, though, you don't hear that. You do not hear that calling.
Hear what calling?
Everywhere in the temple. The energy.
There is certainly an energy here. I can sense it as a wizard, but you are not a forgive me for saying you are not a magical person, Conrade. How does it call to you?
I don't know. I can just... When I spoke with the first coffin, it spoke to me of the strength of a leader, of a ruler, of others to bend to my command. And... Well, speaking of family, my greatest failing, as my papa would say, unlike your family who would lament the decisions of a 20-something-year-old who might bring back her parents from the dead, my papa would be glad. My greatest failing is a lack of ambition when it comes to family affairs. He has always been fond of speaking of how I am, and my lack of interest in the family's plans. So, if it had been me, they would have been they would have expected it. And this way, the feeling here in this temple now, there's so much strength to be had, and not just because of what your family might lament or what they might expect of them. Just opportunity. So, well, it is no matter. Perhaps I am very overtired. Rest will probably do me good.
Perhaps, but...
Did take a lot of hard knocks in the myriad of combats we've had to take, so perhaps that's why I feel all that.
It is... I do not I cannot empathize with how you feel about your family, and particularly your father, but power is a toxic thing if you let it be. You learn that very early on as a wizard. I hope, Conrade, that you do not let it become toxic to you. If you will forgive me for saying so, I know I am not that much older than you, but you are young. You have a whole future ahead of you, full of potential. Whether or not you have anything to do with your family when we come back to Fierlor, you have a whole lifetime to decide what you want to do, and a whole lifetime to decide whether or not you will let the whims of your father affect the choices you make.
That is if we get out of here in one piece in the first place.
Well,
I think until then, some allowances must be afforded.
We can only be positive.
Okay.
No matter. And he steps out from behind the library.
Yeah. Fall, actually, anything either of you wanted to quickly deal with before bed?
Pretty much Fall's going to look someone like conflicted and embarrassed about their last conversation is going to go into a corner and start meditating, holding the holy symbol and basically attuning to it and trying to get a feel of it.
Okay. And Exley?
Exley's going to fall asleep on the bookshelf.
Okay. As a cat?
Yep.
Okay. After a little bit, you do fall out because you are too big for the shelves.
Okay.
Ah!
Suddenly, Exley, you hear a crack, and then Exley, like, falls down, lands on the ground, gets up, brushes himself off, and goes, "I apologize for the interruption," and just goes and, like, squats in a corner.
You do take, 2 points of bludgeoning damage, but that's gonna be gone by the time you wake up. So, I don't think we need, unless there's anything in particular people want to be doing while they're on watch, I don't think we need to roll for watches.
Okay.
Because you're fairly fortified in this library.
Yeah. Point of order, Cevia will still set alarm around the room. As a ritual, after the conversation with Conrade, she's going to look quite perturbed, and she is going to do it around the room, but like cut off that line where the top of the staircase is. Yep. So if anyone goes up or down the stairs, she's going to get the alarm bell, and she's actually going to set it so that it makes a loud noise that everyone can hear.
Okay.
Not just her.
Did she communicate this with everyone?
Nope.
I feel like it again.
Yeah. Beatrice will be watching Cevia as she does this, and Beatrice is going to spend the night. Beatrice is going to spread all her stuff out and possibly have like a couple of piles of books on either side so that she completely blocks the entryway to the stairs.
Okay.
I will say, as Cevia is doing it, especially as she's going over the door, like the top of the stairway, she does shoot a look at Conrade, but mostly she looks at her own spell book for a minute and then continues.
Okay. So, who is taking first watch?
Exley will.
Okay. Is there anything you are doing during your watch?
Watching.
Okay.
And in the periods of time where he's not watching, he is thinking about the emotions that he had as a cat. And he's also mimicking some of the, not expressions, but like physicalities that other people have shown.
Okay. All right. So, who is taking second watch?
When's Esmeralda taking a watch?
She can take second watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I do want to take a watch and I do have a little thing prepared, but Cevia wouldn't do it until later in the night.
Yeah. Okay, so who is taking third watch?
Beatrice will take third watch.
All right. Is there anything you are doing on your watch?
Beatrice does take a very, very weather-worn, battered-looking little book, leather-bound book out of her bag, and write some things down in it before putting it back away, and just putting her attention back to just everything going on around her.
Okay. Who is taking fourth watch?
Falcon.
Is there anything you are doing on your watch?
Phil's going to be writing some amendments to the note that they wrote, the note for in case they die.
Okay.
Yeah, and just doing stretches and stuff.
Who is taking fifth watch?
What time abouts is this? If we started doing watches at like 6 p.m., this would be like 2 o'clock?
Yeah, it'd be about 2 a.m.
I mean, unless Laura has anything planned for Conrade's watch.
He's gonna break into there. He's gonna try and go down.
Okay,
there,
cool.
Like, that can happen after what you're doing, I think.
Okay, then
Unless you
we'll
want to
go now. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
So fifth watch will be Cevia?
She is definitely not taking a proper watch. I will roll for it if you need me to, but she's not taking a proper watch. Okay. She is going to, I assume Fall wakes her up very gently, And she's still, I guess something I've never really said is every time she gets woken up, it's kind of lessened over the past couple of days, but every time someone wakes her up for her turn at watch, there is this moment of like complete fear whenever she is like shaken awake. That's kind of lessened, but it's still there. So she's going to go do her watching for near the fire, and for the first like 5 minutes or so, she's just twiddling her thumbs and like picking at the skin of her nails. She keeps looking over at Kazir's bag, and she's sitting there looking at it, and then she finally just puts her hands in her lap and looks up at the ceiling and goes, damn it. Ah. She's going to pull out Kazir's diary. And she is going to read it.
Okay.
Sorry, Mitch. He said, okay, Mitch has sent me a document.
Okay.
Oh boy. Does this mean you want me to read it and not have the Kazir accent?
Well, I mean, I've been having a think about whether I want to, if the diary ever does get read, whether I want to read it in Kazir's voice, but I think it makes more sense for it not to be Kazir.
Okay.
Given the current circumstance.
Yep, look, fair and valid. Please give me 1 second. I have to open it on my computer because my phone is losing its mind at the size of this document.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We might not read all of this then.
No.
But
Well, how about in that case, Mitch, would you like to give me some of the Spark notes, please?
I can give you a couple of entries to read if you'd like.
Yeah. Finally it loads. Apologies, everyone, for my technical difficulties.
24 is good.
Okay.
And 63. And then 70 and 72.
Okay. So she reads through the whole thing, including the first couple of entries that Conrade read as well. Entry 24. Took Sasha on a trip out of Durham today to see the countryside. We had fun, even got her up in the saddle to have a bit of riding practice. Donkey riding is a bit different than riding a horse, but any practice is good practice, especially if she wants to be an adventurer when she grows up. I would do anything for that little bundle of happiness. Entry 63. Haven't slept for the last 3 nights. Went to a healer for Sasha. Turns out the lump in her neck is more dangerous than they thought. They're going to try and do what they can, but they're telling me not to have high hopes. I've promised all the gold we have, and if I need to, I'll sell the house to pay for treatment. Sasha is my life, and I'll be damned if I let a goddamn neck growth take my darling Sasha away from me. 70. Spending as much time as I can with Sasha. Now the healers said they can't do much anymore. I'm trying to learn as much as I can from the teachings of the temple, but I can't get the grasp of healing magic yet. I gotta keep trying, though, even though everyone else has given up. I won't lose her. I can't lose her. 71 is a mess of scribbled and torn pages with several stains and ink blotches. Few words can be made out in the mess, but you can read the word why, along with the crossed out symbol of Daemir. 72, haven't written in a while. Now that Sasha ain't here to coax me into writing, I just keep putting it off. House is certainly calmer and cleaner, but I sure miss her. Keep writing letters to her, and I hope that one day she'll write one back. I'm sure wherever she is, though, she's spreading joy and mischief where she goes.
okay, and you continue to read through his.
That's probably when your alarm goes off after you've processed that.
Yeah.
But you can describe what you do first before your alarm goes off.
Well, okay, what she does next is going to rely on her getting to the end of the book and reading the part where he says that he saw her as a grown-up Sasha. Because what she is going to do next is she is going to, I'm assuming if Conrade is sneaking around, he's the only one that's seeing this.
Yeah.
She looks the angriest she has ever looked. Like fury, blind white fury.
And he can probably ascertain this is Kezia's diary, just shakes his head and is like, okay, no, it's my chance. And
then if the alarm goes off, it doesn't matter, but the first thing she does is she reaches into his bag and she grabs the second symbol of Daemir that did not get buried with Kezia. And she's going to, and this is out loud, say, I'm a bit out of practice, but... And she closes her eyes. Blessed be to the Rose Mother. May those above and those below redeem themselves for what they have committed. I come today not to ask you about myself, but to ask you for others. Daemir, he said your connection here was muffled, but I hope you can still hear me. Do you know where he is? Do you...
It's probably at this point that the alarm just blares, echoing through the room as everyone is woken up, and can see Conrade breaking the threshold.
He whips around and just with shock, and then just clear. I don't know.
Beatrice is instantly going to be up. She will grab Conrade and she will have a dagger in her hand.
You can try. Come on.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God.
So Beatrice, make me an athletics check. Conrade, make me an athletics or acrobatics. Your choice.
Alright.
That's a nat 20.
So the total being?
So athletics, 21.
21.
I mean, this is a nat 20, so I imagine that should have some sway over it, but I did do a 22, because I rolled a 17 for acrobatics.
I think you do manage to grab him, but he is able, as lithe as he is able to squirm his way out just as quickly.
Oh, Jesus.
Eel Conrade returns.
Oh, gods above.
Jeepers.
And I've gotten rid of every spell that works on a humanoid. God damn it.
Jeez, I don't know. What's the closest? Would he scramble up a bookcase? Is that the closest vantage point to get away from Beatrice? Can I do that?
The way you're going... Yeah, you'd probably, having broken the threshold, you would have to go past Beatrice again to get to a bookcase to scramble up it.
Okay, well then he runs down the stairs then, if if the bookcase isn't closer.
Yeah.
Conrade! Cevia's gonna run after him.
What?
Beatrice is hot on his heels.
Yeah.
Eggley has stood up, but he's not moving. He's watching this.
Yeah. You quickly, Cevia quickly falls behind Beatrice and Conrade, who both have that bonus action dash, so can move 90 feet in 6 seconds. What is Fall doing?
Well, I can move 90 feet in 3 seconds. But Fall will not do that. Fall will take a moment to just be like, what's going on? And then start running down as well.
Conrade, going downstairs, think is going to touch evil sarcophagus. Whilst running.
Okay, I'll get to him.
He looks over his back. I guess he can see Beatrice chasing after him, and he's kind of glares, and then he will duck into the small chasm where the treasury was.
Okay.
Ooh. He pauses for a moment, and then he'll duck into there.
Yeah. Do you follow him in, Beatrice, or...?
Beatrice goes up to the crack
Okay. But
stands at the crack.
you don't go
Does not
through.
follow
Okay.
him into the room.
Yeah, and Conrade will wait at the other end after glancing to make sure the golem's asleep, and then just like glare back through
The
there.
golem is there, dormant. Yes.
He looks relieved, and then turns back to glare at Beatrice.
Beatrice glares back twice as hard.
I think at this point too, it is worth noting that you all have, like, you've had enough rest that you have had your long rest at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll get there as well. It's like, Beatrice, Conrade, what are you doing?
Conrade was
everything
trying
okay?
to sneak downstairs.
It's not a crime.
In your eyes, maybe.
What
would
have
you-
I done for it to any of you that has been bad?
Why must you make it such a secret to come down?
Because all of you suspect me to be a bad person and to be having designs on everyone.
I don't suspect that. I'm worried that something magical is happening, but I don't think you're a bad person.
Beatrice, roll a perception check on Conrade.
What are you trying to determine?
She's trying to determine his... The word's not purpose, but it's
His yeah. So that's probably more of an insight.
insight.
Yeah.
Insight, then. Insight suits me fine. Oh, God.
It's just this little 19-year-old, like, in the dark with, like, the gleam of the treasury behind, just glaring real hard.
Like, just trying to work out what his play is here.
Very dark-eyed and worry.
23.
23. So, yeah, Conrade, what are you trying to play out here? Or what would Beatrice be able to glean from Conrade with a 23?
I mean, if she's questioning what he's just been saying, he is being truthful. He is angry. But he's not, doesn't appear to be lying. His angle doesn't appear to be lying at that. He does believe what he's saying. And he is like, I don't know, like, yeah, what else would Beatrice be wanting to try and glean from that? He believes what he's just said. And he's more sort of like, he does look, I guess, furtive, like he's looking like grumpy. But he's more sort of like, it's, I suppose as a hunter, this is more like him running down into here is more, I guess, in terms of like prey, he has run down here and then gone into here because he doesn't think you're going to follow him. And that was a calculated risk on his behalf. And he's mostly just like, he doesn't seem to have been run down here to grab anything. It's just been sort of that instinctive sort of like, oh, well then I'll just run away because you're going to, I'm going to get into trouble. So therefore, yeah, I don't know. You probably see your kids do this if they did something naughty. But yeah, he just looks generally impetuous and like quite, I don't know. He just looks angry.
Why would you come down here in the middle of the night when everybody else is sleeping?
Because nobody else will listen to me, so perhaps I should talk to someone who will.
You think the things in these are going to listen to you?
They do.
No, they talk to you and they get your bile up and they warp your mind.
They have not.
Oh, yes?
They have only offered things and not taken anything. I have...
Since entering this temple, you have become more defensive. And you've been acting very strangely, especially when we come anywhere near these sort of things.
You can feel it though, can't you? You spoke with them.
You what?
It's an energy everywhere. Don't you feel stronger down here?
Conrade, I've had a little bit of training as a monk with defending myself against magical effects, and I think a lot of it involves knowing who you are, how you tend to act, and if there's sudden changes in how you feel and experience the world, that's generally a bad sign.
Isn't it progression? To change how you behave and how you feel things.
Of course, if you're the one doing the changing.
It is.
It's only progression if it aims to the bettering of your person. Otherwise,
it does.
It's detrimental.
I feel stronger. I feel more capable. The only difference is no one listens to me, which they should. The only thing that's changed since before is we had that talk about leadership. And I appreciate the words you spoke to me about who I remind you of. But it does not change how the others behave. I could say everyone has changed since we've been in here.
You could not be wrong. As we have heard from everyone before, this place changes people.
Then why am I the only one who is under suspicion?
Because currently you are the only one doing anything suspicious.
Fair point.
Look, let's just go back up and rest and pretend nothing ever happened.
What are you going to do if I come out of here?
And Beatrice sheathes her dagger and raises her hands and steps back. I will not do anything as long as you go straight upstairs. And promise to stay away from this place.
Fall?
I wouldn't do anything. I think if you want to talk about something that's happened, you're willing to do that, I guess.
I will call out to the others not to do anything as well.
Good. Okay. Well, just as a reminder, if you do try something, I will of course be the first one to kill you, not you me. So, just putting that out there. Because I'm quite good at some things.
I am also good at some things.
Oh no, you kill me in an instant, I get it.
And then Beatrice turns around and shouts up the stairs, nothing to worry about, it's all fine, go back to sleep.
Cevia, who has just gotten to the base of the stairs at a dead sprint, is like,
Don't worry, all good.
and then just goes back upstairs.
Eggleston is having a chat with Esmeralda, taking bets on how long it will take them to come back and if they will all come back.
Fair.
I think it's 2-1 that Conrade returns. The others should be back. Yeah.
Well, you never know. Fall might trip up a step.
I think that one is a lot more capable than they like to put on.
And then Eggleston...
I rolled a 13 climbing stairs.
Which is probably a good... not the worst idea in a place like this.
Exley will continue and like turn back to the stairs and watch and count the people that come back up.
Cool. And Conrade will eventually come back out of the little crevice, quite sullenly, and sort of like put his hands in his pockets.
Beatrice steps aside and lets him pass to walk up the stairs. Beatrice will walk up behind everybody else.
Okay.
Excellent. And he kind of squares his shoulders up and then sort of strides back up the stairs.
All right. So, after this little bit of excitement and kind of catching your breath and everything, what would people like to do at this, basically the start of a new day?
Cevia is very upset that her moment got interrupted, and she has a lot of feelings and nowhere to put them.
What time would it be?
By the time everything settles down and everyone's back in place, it's probably around about 6 a.m.
Beatrice will probably set about sort of pulling some rations out to distribute for breakfast.
Okay.
Cevia is going to very angrily read a book.
All right.
Exathander. I will state for the record, if Conrade comes anywhere near her, she does not direct this anger at him. It is not directed at him at all. It is this almost passive anger. It's like she's just got nowhere to put it.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
I guess Full will try to pull Conrade aside if Conrade is willing. Like, hey, can we have a word?
All right.
Sure.
Yes,
okay. Goes to a corner or something. I guess I wanted to apologize for my behavior.
Why?
I've been acting weirdly. I didn't realize that the way that we were all treating you was upsetting, which is a bit dumb of me, but that's me. I don't want to be on the wrong foot with you. I guess, I don't know. Do you... I'm assuming you don't want to have a curse on you or something, or be charmed or something like that?
I don't feel like it. It doesn't feel like... Oh, when the thing happened with him.
Right. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know. You were just acting differently, and I kind of jumped to conclusions. Would you be willing to have Cevia have a look at you?
I don't feel different, and besides, why should I be the only one to be tested? After all, everyone's behaving differently, and
I guess that's a good point. I guess we could all, true. I mean, Cevia was charmed by the vampire a while back. We've been in contact with weird magical items. I guess that we could do that with everyone.
Perhaps. Although I feel that most have made their mind up already.
I guess it might be a way of disproving that then.
Perhaps. 'Tis frustrating. No one here is like me, and no one here is predictable. I can't get a measure of anyone anymore. Which is understandable. My papa and my brothers were always so much better at commanding others, and even less listen here, so...
I think I still agree that you were the best choice of a leader. And I do have to say that I don't exactly trust anyone but Cevia in this group.
Understandable.
Quite dangerous people.
We all are. Yourself included, of course.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Yes, I guess that could get rid of a few doubts. Yes, I don't want people to be hurting you, and I don't want us to have a poor relationship. You were talking about, you mentioned your family. I couldn't help but notice the tattoo. That wouldn't be the Cebaloni family crest, would it?
Conrad just looks like quite surprised for a moment and then immediately guarded. He's like, well, my own spin on it. You said you've been in Serrata before. Were you sent here?
Sent to Barovia? No, I don't think so.
No, yes, this would be far too great an effort to make example if this were magic or drugging or something. It would be too great a coincidence. No, that makes sense.
You don't seem... Go on.
How do you know of the family?
I've been in communication with them. I'm kind of working for them.
Okay. And his demeanor, he hasn't been relaxed, but his demeanor changes to quite a lot more not a huge visible shift, but Four would know for sure. It's suddenly a lot more defensive and a lot more ready.
Four is just sort of seeing this as kind of ooh, that's not good. No, you don't seem to like them very much, do you?
Well, let's see, the family, I would not be surprised if you were one of their associates or lackey or something, that they would send someone after me given the circumstances to bring me back home.
To bring you back? From Barovia?
Back to the house.
Right,
Although you certainly don't look like an enforcer type. I don't, well, you don't really seem like the type to do retrievals or to do more permanent solutions, so that is,
No, that's definitely not my job. I was more of an information gatherer as a test of sorts.
I see.
I worked for Amos Cebaloni.
Oh, I see. How recently?
For about a month or two.
Well, that's my papa, so you're working directly for him. Goodness, that's, well.
Yes, I'm, Paul is just ooh, I'm not sure whether to say this. Right, do you have many siblings?
I have 2 siblings. My 2 elder brothers, Prospero and Giorgio, both a bit older than me, and both much higher in rank than I. They're the ones with the ambition, you see.
Right.
I suppose you probably wouldn't have heard of me much. I'm rather the black sheep of the family and the youngest, so the least important.
I haven't been permitted to learn very much about the family at all, actually.
understandable. You are not a noble after all, so why would you need to?
Right, okay, this conversation has gone very poorly. I guess I'll spit it out, gauge the reaction. Okay, so I grew up as an orphan. I knew that I had a family out there somewhere. About 3 months ago, I got a letter from a certain Amos Soboloni who said that I was his child. And so I went to Serrata, and I've been working for him to see if I'm worth joining the family. So, surprise? Yes, for half siblings.
But I don't. What advantage would you have in? Pardon. You're blue. Apart from.
Yes. I wasn't quite sure what kind of reaction I'd be getting here. I wasn't sure whether to tell you, but I've always wanted a family. And
I can't think of what advantage you would have in saying such a thing. How do you know that he is your father? A letter?
Yes.
Can be. And you were called to do work for him and for us.
After all, in Serrata, being nobility is such can be a dangerous occupation. So the scandal of having a bastard child pop up would be quite dangerous. So he wanted to know if I'm trustworthy.
You are certainly. I do not see why Papa would even entertain question unless he thought it were true. If what you say is true, he would have a more permanent solution otherwise if he did not ascertain it to be true and to have you see. This is not the first time he has done such a thing.
Yes, I could imagine. It's been rather enlightening hearing how you speak about him and his family. I did have high hopes for the future, but I suppose even if I hadn't been sucked away into this other dimension and failed his tests for not being there to undertake them, well, maybe they would have been dashed anyway.
Well, they always need soldiers in Serrata for my family.
Yes, but at least I found a brother. Full takes psychic damage at Conrade's reaction.
I'm having a hard time processing all of this.
No, that's fine. I wouldn't expect anything to change. I just thought I'd put it out there. So that there's truth between us.
Well, I'll tell you now, if you're trying a trick, I am not in line to inherit unless my brothers die, which may happen. They do try to kill each other all the time, so perhaps if a double happens, then perhaps by some horrible accident it might be me at the head. But I do not have any sway over anything that my family do. I spend a lot of time doing bad things and making them disappointed in me. So, if this is a lie, or even if it is a truth and you're trying to use me as leverage, I'm the poorest choice of the three. Oh. And
it's no lie. To be honest, I wasn't supposed to tell anyone about this, but considering you're in the family, I thought that would be fine.
I see.
Right, well, I suppose, are you still willing to have a talk with Cevia?
Perhaps. I will give it a try, for...
Okay.
I appreciate you speaking this way to me. It does fit with that you have been trying to be more concerned over me, or at least speaking that way, while still not being interested in any of the offer I made to you and Exley. So...
yes. I mean, I would like to care for you. I want a brother, but I suppose we'll see where things go.
Yes, we will have to see.
All right, how are you following that up? Or are you going to approach Cevia now, or are you going to start explorations for the day and broach that later?
I guess. What's everyone else doing?
Yeah, what's everyone else doing first?
Angrily reading a book and not hearing this conversation.
I think. Mention it, Mitch.
So, a fun little fact about Exley. He's very interested in people, and he can also read lips.
Good to know as a player.
So, in true Exley fashion, he's been blank this entire time. And is just going to, once the conversation finishes, there'll probably be a couple of minutes pause where he sort of contemplates things, and then he's going to get up and just start to prepare for the day, I guess.
All right. And Beatrice?
Oh boy. Beatrice just sort of been getting ready, maybe sort of making idle chit-chat with Esmeralda about the day, but nothing of any consequence.
Okay. So, Exley, were you doing anything with those bodies that you had dragged?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exley would like to turn them into useful meat shields.
Okay. So, they're zombies, because they still have their flesh, I believe.
Yep.
So, one of them still has, so the captain, the leader, still has studded leather armor and a shield.
Excellent.
So they'll probably make their AC something like, well, it'll be 14 plus whatever the dexterity is. And then the rest are just base armor. And the weapons on them, the leader has a spear, and the rest of them would have great axes.
Okay.
So make a note of that.
I am.
All right. So, once you cast that spell, are people going to start exploration for the day?
Well, Conrad will stride up to, like, nod to Fawn and stride up to Cevia, like, while they're preparing, like, while that's happening, and be like, it has been suggested to me that you should test to see if I am cursed.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Paul said you could do this. He looks at Paul, like, tilts his head to one side.
Yes,
Or, like, does a thumbs up. Encouraging.
Yes, I can. That would be the spell I use on books and things. I do have to touch you, so for 11 minutes. So
Where?
Anywhere you are comfortable with. I can hold your hand or put a hand on your shoulder.
It is of no consequence to me where you touch me.
Okay, well then if you would like to get comfortable, would you rather be standing or sitting? Or I don't normally do this on a person.
He casts another cursory glance at Fall, like, all right, well, I suppose there's a first time for everything. And he sits down makes a big show of slowly dropping to his knees and then sitting cross-legged in front of you.
Right, good. And Cevia just sits on the floor and then is really awkwardly just going to take one of his hands and just put it between both of hers. And I guess normally when she identifies an object, like she touches it with one hand and moves her hand with the sigils for the other, but in this case she's just focusing mentally, so her focus is kind of glowing a little bit, and it's purple, but it kind of glows almost rainbow.
Interesting.
All right, so at the end of the 11 minutes, you learn the following. Conrade is cursed by the sword he is wielding. It is a simple curse. You've heard of magic items having this before. Basically, prevents unattunement and makes the wielder incredibly reticent to not use the sword. From knowing the properties of the sword, from identifying it before, outside of the curse, you would probably gather, okay, this probably has to be dealt with eventually, but for now, this is fine. This isn't really impacting his personality. There are some residual effects of the boons that he was given that are kind of these supernatural effects on his personality. However, they seem to be very firmly and powerfully rooted in there by powerful dark magic. It's not going to be as simple as a dispel magic or remove curse to separate these tents from his person.
Yeah, which is sort of like force of charisma kind of effects, pretty much.
Okay. Well, I guess the question is, does Conrade speak at all during the 11 minutes? Does he do that awkward, like, 19-year-old thing where he's just really fidgety?
Yeah, he is.
Like,
He's very
super,
fidgety.
and she's just super focused on his hand and not... I guess for the first couple of minutes she doesn't speak because she's just kind of learning things, and then partway through, kind of as things are going on, she will start kind of imparting information as it comes to her to Conrade. So I guess the first one will be, well, I unfortunately to say, you are in fact quite cursed.
What?
Yes. The simplest one I'm detecting is the sword, the gambler's sword. It's a simple curse. It mostly just makes you want to use it above your other weaponry, and it means you can't unconnect from it.
It's a better blade, so that's understandable, surely.
Yes.
That can't be a curse.
Well, by the standard definition, yes, it is a curse. It is not necessarily one we have to deal with right away. Certainly, I think as long as you don't die and you haven't put all 3 of your chances to save yourself into it, then it should be fine. Unfortunately, what's coming to me now is that... I would not necessarily call these curses, but I would call them deep-rooted dark magic that is changing your personality, which, for all intents and purposes, probably is a curse.
Okay.
Yes, I believe... Well, one, I am not going to call you out on this, but you did tell us you only touched 1 sarcophagus, and I'm detecting more than one source of personality-altering magic in here. I'm detecting about 2, so I am not going to get angry at you for that, because I feel like that is counterproductive to my point. But I'm mostly detecting residual effects. These would have been a lot stronger had I done this when they first happened, but these are dark magic, incredibly dark, borderline evil, and they are taking deep root in the very essence of your personality and altering how you behave.
So,
and they are not going to be, unlike the sword, which I could dispel the magic of it simply right now. I won't, but I could. These will take a lot more effort.
So, for reference, you're probably able to tell Conrade what these adverse personality traits are. And so, Conrade, you are in this weird situation where you're aware that these personality traits aren't actually yours. And so you can probably do a bit to mitigate for them if you so desire. Knowing that it's not really you. So what we're going to do is, if ever there is a situation where Conrade's awareness that those aren't his traits kind of pushes through and means that side of him doesn't want to do something, but those traits, those flaws cause him to want to do something, you can make a wisdom saving throw to resist.
Okay, cool.
The DC will vary depending on the scenario and how tempting it is to Conrade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Understandable.
So Cevia will impart all this to him, like the whole, it means you won't take no for an answer, it makes you hunger for arcane knowledge, which really does explain a lot of you hanging around in the books, although really I just thought you were interested in what I was interested in, but that's neither here nor there. And she's just going to cycle through, and there's knowledge you have been granted. I can't quite place what it is, I can only replace the residual effects of it, but you have been granted arcane knowledge.
Yes.
If you
told me I cannot comprehend it yet, but that in future I will have a purpose, and it will become clear then.
Right.
Not necessarily bad things. Looking for, desiring arcane knowledge is what you base most of your life around, surely, and expecting proper compliance is not a bad thing.
Maybe if we were to stay in Barovia, no, it would not be a bad thing. And if you were always the leader, no, it would not be a bad thing. But a failure to compromise, that has long-term effects.
I think it has long been established I am not a leader. I am simply the person that makes decisions fastest.
Well, I think you have certainly tried harder to be a leader than any of us, and that, to me, counts for something.
You're all alive so far.
Yes, and I don't doubt your contribution to that, Conrade. There is a reason I try to be kinder to you now, because I realize that the way I treated you when we first came to Barovia was unfair. It was the behavior of a scared girl who saw someone who was behaving the way they knew how and reacted with aggression rather than understanding. I do not want to be your enemy, Conrade, and if this boon means that you will only ever see me as someone to subjugate, I cannot agree with it. You, as a person, were trying to be a good, democratic leader of this group. If this boon makes you a dictator, there is no power in fear that won't result in your doom.
I have not requested much of everyone here. I have merely offered things. I have offered tests of character for others and for myself. And it is no action of a dictator if people have not chosen to accept them. It is merely knowledge for me at a later basis. Much like the knowledge of this spell here is now. It is interesting to know about the sword, but it is a good sword, so I suppose there's not much harm in it.
No.
So,
Beatrice
yes.
Beatrice, when Conrade walked over to Cevia and they sat down and Cevia started doing that, Beatrice would have realised what was going on and would have gotten as close as she could to be able to hear them, but not to sort of disturb what was actually going on.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check.
What do we roll? Or
This, I mean, the two of you are fairly focused in your
so it'd be
moment,
passive.
so it'd be your passives.
Which I closed Cevia's character sheet during the technical difficulties. I apologize.
Your passive
Very low.
Yeah.
Cevia's not
Mine's
gonna,
16.
Yeah.
Cevia's not going to know. There's information to be gleaned here.
True.
23.
23. So you're able to get close enough to hear without them noticing. The dark feathers definitely help you blend into the shadows. So
I get... Sorry, just super quickly, one last thing I want to say to Conrade, it's literally like one sentence, is like, I am not saying that you have done anything now to hurt us. I am just saying I worry for the future. And then she lets go of their hands.
So, exploration. Are you just continuing to go around the temple from where you left off yesterday? So going back to the room where you met the mountain folk.
It depends on what the group do. Conrade is going to suggest something, but it depends on what the others are doing.
Beatrice, when they walk out, Beatrice is going to have a bit of a explore around the lower floor just before they move along.
Okay. How thorough of an exploration are you making?
Exley would also like to do that as well, if that's all right.
Which way are each of you going? East or west?
Beatrice will go east.
Okay.
Exley will go west. Because we've already sort of been... Because underneath the platform to the east, that's what we're assuming the door is to that golem's room.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice is going to sort of move a little bit further down than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Exley will go along the west wall.
Yeah.
And then move south if he needs to.
Beatrice, make me a perception check. You do see, just as the description for this area, the walls and ceilings of the Great Hall are coated in amber that glistens like fresh honey. Dust covers the black marble floor, and to the north the hall is collapsed, leaving a wall of rubble. Many amber doors lead from this hall. Standing in front of the south door are 3 ugly women, tattered black gowns with brooms and black pointed hats. What was your perception roll?
22.
22. So you manage to spot them quickly enough that if you don't want to make your presence known to them, you can avoid that.
Okay, yeah, Beatrice would not want to
So
observe anything.
that would mean that you back out to the main section of hall.
Yeah.
However, you can, if you do go to that map, you can have a look. Exley.
Which map is that?
The Amber Temple 2. So Exley, your area, there's actually not really anything too major here. Glistening amber coats the walls and ceilings of this enormous hall like sculpted honey. The dust covers the black marble floor. The vaulted ceiling is 25 feet high, and set into the walls at a height of 5 feet are amber ledges lined with life-sized alabaster statues of cats, frogs, hawks, owls, rats, ravens, snakes, toads, and weasels. Many of the statues have fallen off their perches and lie shattered on the floor. An amber door on the north wall stands open. 4 other amber doors to the west and south stand closed. And there is a stairwell that you can see to the south that leads upwards. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that one's fine. So that top one is open.
Oh, what can I glean from the top one?
So, if you go further into the top vault, the room...
I don't go in, but I want to look through the door.
Looking through the doorway. The room has amber glazed walls and a floor of purplish black marble. 2 amber sarcophagi stand in alcoves to the west and east, and a 3rd sarcophagus that once stood in the north alcove lies shattered on the floor. Clustered in the middle of the room are 4 loathsome, hunched creatures, each one with a single baleful eye. At this stage, they don't seem to be able to see you, because you're just kind of peeking your head around the door. Is there anything you are doing with this information?
I would like to unpeek my head from the door.
Okay.
And retreat to the safety of the party.
Yeah. Okay, so there is so there is a staircase in that that west hallway.
Oh yeah, I'll have a quick look upwards.
So going up the stairway, that does lead you up to the top floor, and into a hallway, to a door, which actually, yeah, so there is a door immediately in front of you, and then 2 apparent secret doors on either side. So one leading to the north, one leading to the south.
Ooh, okay. No, I'm gonna go back to the party.
Okay. Do you tell them of the secret doors?
I tell them everything that I saw.
Okay. What do people want to do with the information gathered?
Silently freak out.
We'll just look to other people for direction.
Okay, well, just for the record, I was going to suggest going to explore this area anyway, so I suppose you saved us some time. Good. So there were more coffins in that room that you saw, Exley?
There are 2. There was 3, but 1 is destroyed.
And he also mentioned 4 figures in there.
Yes.
What-
Were they similar to the figures that we saw in the first one?
No. So roll me an Arcana check.
Oh, I'm good at these. I'm not. That's a 9?
9. You're not sure what these are. Cevia, you can maybe roll an Arcana check based on the description that Exley gave of the creatures.
That's not good, but my Arcana is. That's a 17.
Okay, so these sound like creatures called Nothics.
That with a silent G?
No. Nothic. They are basically wizards who failed on their way to lichdom. And are basically these wretched, accursed former humanoids.
They look cute. Oh, yeah, got one little big eye in their head, and they like kind of got like, I don't know,
Yeah, they do.
like they crouch down like an animal.
They seem like fun. They seem like fun.
They definitely won't try and kill us.
No.
Not at all.
For some reference for the audience watching the video, that is a Nothic. Yeah, they are almost like reptilian, spiky backed
Big old
humanoids.
doggos.
Big eye.
I'm gonna say
Singular.
something that is maybe indicative of the pets I grew up with, but this does remind me of one of my cats. Like, not looks-wise, but energy-wise. I feel
Okay.
like these guys have the energy of one of my cats.
Okay.
So, with all of the possible paths laid out before you, where would people like to go?
Well, that room does sound interesting. But I think we've already established that we don't need to be exploring vaults or coffins. You found stairs.
Leading to a closed door and 2 secret passageways.
That might bear investigation. From my thoughts, anyway.
Seems more likely the sword we're looking for is hidden than in one of those rooms.
Alright. So you make your way up the stairs?
Yep.
Alright. So, of the 2 secret doors, do you want to go into the northern one or the southern one?
Go south. Can I hear anything at the doors?
Roll me a perception check.
22.
You hear nothing through either of them.
Sounds good.
So, so southern room.
Yeah, I guess we sort of crack it open and
Okay.
see what it looks like. I'm
so-
getting ready to send a meat shield in to test it out.
So this room, you see stone blocks resembling tables standing in the center of this room, covered in dust. Carved into the stone walls are niches filled with hundreds of dusty bottles. Cobwebs hang from wooden ladders that lean against the walls.
Okay.
Just as a reminder to you, the prophecy did state with the sword, the phrasing was, the lightning points to a source of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. The treasure is hidden in a small castle beneath a mountain, guarded by amber giants.
Amber giants.
So, what would you like to do?
I might have to rescind my statement upon rereading the prophecy.
I mean, there's still the north room.
If it is all right with our leader, I say we do check the north room, but there is a chance that we have been assuming amber giants meant the golems, and instead it means the sarcophaguses.
Oh.
She doesn't look pleased about this information.
This is fair.
I still say we check the north room just in case, but
Yes.
So, you go to open the door to the north room, and you see inside of it the dominating figure in this room is a 12-foot tall model of a dark castle with high walls and tall spires. Behind it, tucked in a corner, are some ruined furnishings and a wooden chest.
Quite a good model.
or maybe it's in here. Maybe,
One can only hope. Conrade is going to go and look at the chest, I guess.
Okay. The chest has wooden chest
Teeth.
contains an old map case, and you have passive perception to notice. There is a false bottom in this.
Definitely has a false bottom. I think I'm gonna jimmy over that false bottom. Thank you.
And inside the hidden compartment is a tome of some sort.
Oh, okay. Conrade will start to just look around him and then grab the tome
Okay.
to look at it.
All right. This is. Oh, this is a strange tome. This is gonna take some looking over.
Alright. He gets his belt, and as he did before with Strahd's diary, he just affixes it to himself.
Yes. As for the castle, anyone doing anything with it?
Beatrice is going to wander around it and see if she can ascertain anything from it, or
Okay. So it is. Yeah, it is a. It's an architect's model, basically. It is probably quite fragile in actuality. If you were to, so you poke it and take it apart, do you?
yes.
And there you see, as you remove pieces, you see this hilt. This sword with no blade.
Finally.
no blade.
No blade. Oh.
Beatrice makes a little sort of noise.
Did you find something?
I have found the hilt of a blade, and Beatrice will pick it up.
Okay, so you don't learn the properties of this sword, but you do get the feeling that it is a magical sword, and that it is whole. It is there is nothing missing.
It's like a lightsaber.
Sword of light.
Oh, yes.
And that's where we're going to end it for this week.
Oh,
Yay!
Alright, we can leave.
I think we ran a little long, but I think we kind of needed to because you were all that close.
We got it.
Thank you.
Finally.
Thank you. I knew we were continuing so we could get the sword, and thank you, benevolent DM.
Yes. So, and with that, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you all very
See you
much.
next time.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh.